Good morning. Go ahead and get started with a little bit of a warm-up. This morning I was thinking about a movie quote that I often journal about. If you know what movie it's from, it's big of a nerd as I am. It's I am a leaf on the wind, see how I soar. And I thought maybe for our warm-up, we can use that as an image in the mind to imagine a leaf on the wind soaring and try to draw what we see with our eyes closed. Just capture that motion, shape of a leaf. It might be at the mercy of the wind or advantage of the wind as it is held in space and pulled aloft. Be a bit free from its tether. You don't have to keep your eyes closed the whole time if it helps find the page, but letting the pencil track what you imagine in that phrase. What is it to soar? What is the texture of the leaf that interacts with the wind? Maybe for me it has to do with time, that it moves in many instances, pulled and pushed, repositioned. And that rough curling shape that we identify as a leaf. What can I do in the bounds of this page, the canvas here, to tell a story that is much broader? Just let the hand warm up and trace the images in the mind. I'm going to work my hands out to the edges of the page. And I feel ready to start to explore some other constructions through drawing. We have our fingers primed. And I was thinking a lot this week of my learning to draw as a child, and having an interest in it, but not having a lot of patience for it, probably like many things that children do, and having many books on drawing, especially a lot about drawing dinosaurs as a kid, but figures and other people. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of explore some of those fundamentals that are started out in figure drawing as a mindful technique of attention to that, but without a goal or a figure in mind, maybe. If one helps you, that's okay, but letting it kind of emerge from the drawing. I always remember in these constructions were like loose circles, or kind of overlapping with ellipses, where they start to form these organic shapes of the leg, the joints of some creature. But just taking that as a beginning technique to link together several shapes. How much do they overlap or extend? And as a figure begins to emerge from that collection, thinking of a leg here for some reason, that we can then come back into it and start to add further layers to the bumps and intersections that take place among those shapes. Think, what might this be? Use it to expand the bump. Come back in and think, what is the ellipse there? How does it work with the whole? And work back and forth a little between the trying to frame something we know with something we don't, that we discover in the drawing. Knowing that many things don't follow these more predefined shape patterns, surfaces that gradually extend out, blend into others. The structure of the drawing just gives us an interface, a place to start, to explore. And sometimes we give an edge a little too much emphasis. We have to feather it out, expand it into another space. The transition sharp, narrow. To track or extend. This one's knee looks like my knee, so it's got a bit of a bump there. Take that in. We start to find an outer form and a language for this drawing. We'll see where it can go beyond that initial idea and start to unsee the leg. A new territory in there to bring the shapes together. Almost got out some charcoal for the day. Just have a different medium, and you come often and want to explore. I think that'd be fun to bring other mediums that are loose or more precise, pen or pencil. It's not predefined in playing through drawing. And having some fun in the intersections of geometry here, blending the shapes together. And then anytime if I need more kind of conditions to work with, I can come back to my original game or play of structure and just start to add several overlapping circles or ellipses as a canvas to build into. They start to become like the doodles. Found in this, starting to see more cellular organizations, bring a little depth through contour, layering, seeing if it brings an image of something beyond the page into my mind. It's like, I think one of the most powerful things about drawing is we quickly have an ability built from many millennia and years ago that we can see three-dimensional things in a two-dimensional space. We've been trying to capture that experience of the world for a long time in our history. That can work the other way, bring new things through an act of creation and exploration. It's bring a little more, start to create a new collection of shapes, both with an attention to their creation and their form, but with also a mindlessness to what they may have to be. Just exploring the orbits, the overlaps. Feeling how my arm moves as the structure emerges. They explore clustering, extending, bringing it into the space of the original drawing so that what emerges there can teach the new canvas. Some new ideas too. And try to bring them together into the same language. Right now I'm really feeling the wear of the graphite on this pencil. It's a heavier 5mm graphite pencil for drafting. I like to use it a lot for like quick markup and discussion in classes and on drawings in my work as a designer and an architect, because the potential imprecision and access to a medium that is robust enough to withstand maybe a little bit more action movements of the lines is always nice. I don't have to worry about breaking the small lead of a mechanical pencil, which I tend to have a problem with. Go through it a lot, whereas this can hold up. But as it gets worked more and more, it provides these softer lines that can be really tracked and expressed because of the weight of that medium. And keeping a thought of that as I go. I don't know if you can hear it. I'll put a mic down here at some point, but the sound of the paper pulling the graphite off of the stick is to me a big interface to the drawing. Thinking like, how did the line, the curve sound as much as look? There's a difference in the short, sketchy strokes that build the edges loosely of something to the more fixed or expressive stroke that just is something. Finding the in-between to that for me. Repeat areas as I find their connection. Maybe some of these bubbles can be things that I don't have to draw. Like outside the space, use it as a negative space. Folds and creases. And at some point this pencil starts to dull itself to a point that I may need to resharpen. If it's a pen, it reaches a level of precision or detail that we have to switch to size. Color. A good chance to see where things have gone, differences emerging. Give this a little more point. This is a drafting lead pointer that also likes to disassemble pencil. One of these fun tools that we have our first year architecture students purchase and hopefully continue to use forever. I think I've had this one since I was a freshman in college. We've held up amazingly. And with a little bit more precision now, I am doing a little bit of a not great job of drawing my arm over this. Maybe start to engage that attention to keep my arm off the page as I move, to maybe now find in this some encapsulating figure or shape to think of what it might start to become as a profile. It has an outer form. Maybe I'll go back and remember the dinosaurs and think to some of the pieces they might have, just like a leaf, veins, wrinkles, ventilated edges to itself, some fingers, some toes. Start to fit into the spaces defined here. And those drawing techniques help to like spec out the muscle, the bone connection, to kind of create a figure under the figure as a technique. Fill in the softer webbing and skin and tissue around that. The wrinkles, folds. It has some little feet here. Enter that Bob Ross stage where the drawing has created a bit of something to see into, to imagine into. Consider its pads on its feet. It's got some weird toes. This might be a bit of an alien dinosaur to us, not a normal one. Three little toes coming down on this leg. Thickening in the back as its muscles support a heavy frame. Remembering as I'm now warmed up to keep my arm engaged and a bit up off the page, so I don't spread too much graphite around. Gives it a bit of a background, foreground texture, using contours, sketched ideas here to build out some of the shadow that helps us see it in more depth. These are plates of protective cartilage or skin. Let's transition somewhere into the start of a tail. As a kid, I was really into dinosaurs and spent a lot of time drawing them, so this comes to my mind. But I was always fascinated as research progressed and they started to change so much from the kind of dragon-like reptiles of when I first was getting into them to the speculation of their relationship to birds and these other elements that came to them, plumage, coloration, giving them a much more expansive dimension, just scary lizards. One way to see the world and explore how it might offer so much diversity at different times in our history. I think something like drawing needs to bring that space to imagine and explore, since we'll know as much as we ever know about the past. Let's create new ideas. To say what's going on in here. Something is coming out of it, and I often leave a little bit of that ambiguity in the space of a drawing. We might not quite know how what parts connect beyond the canvas. It's not about the object, but about the experience. There's a little fold here. We start to wonder if the eyes somehow emerging in this. If there's something coming through on your page, building off of your experiences, interests, this has some space in it to start to maybe imagine, again, a little depth, a little tone and thickness to distinguish some foreground and some background. Maybe to hide it as we embrace some of the abstraction or ambiguity of that imagined form. I'm really enjoying just letting my hand go, even in this act of filling a little bit of space in the page, just to have some tone, some stuff that might be not part of our creature emerging. It's this drawing out of an image, this act of bringing something forth. Really brings a lot of inspiration and insight to potential creativity for the day. So we can bring to our other activities. Maybe even continue to explore in other mornings, to see where this can lead. In a few more minutes, we'll just maybe draw in some silence, see what comes through. hopefully something like this can be a reminder of early lessons, or maybe think back and reflect on them, to the fundamentals that, when combined, bring us greater access to what we might want to explore in our practice. It takes a long time to remember them and learn them, and I always have to kind of go back, and it's one thing I like about teaching, is repeating them over and over again to share with others and hopefully instill that. But thank you for coming, participating. I hope everyone has a wonderful Wednesday. See you next week, I hope.